It is right around 7:35 a.m. on Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. And just for the record, this water stinks like vomit. I've been trying to rinse off under the shower for 20 minutes. And every time I jump under the shower to finish rinsing off, the water from the shower head stinks like vomit, but it also smells like vomit out of this tap. And there's been someone smoking marijuana in and around the area of the bathroom of 78 over the last hour while I've been trying to shower. The stink does not come from me. It comes from something that's coming out of the pipes of this unit. As I've been reporting, the stink suddenly happens when I am covered with soap and shampoo trying to rinse off. And when I go down the hall to the common bathroom and finish rinsing off, there's never any smell from that water. And I've reported this and demonstrated this dozens of times. Every time I go down the hall to the common bathroom to finish rinsing off under clean water, that bathroom and that water smells perfectly fine, even though I am also in it. So stupid people who think that the smell is somehow coming from me or something that I'm using don't understand the concept of location-specific events. When it only happens in one spot, then the problem is with that spot and not with you, retards. So, maybe you should just go back to kindergarten, figure that one out. Deductive reasoning, not your strong suit. Stop watching my channel. At the same time, there's been no heat in this unit. It's approximately 40 degrees in Boston right now. There's no heat in here, and I've had to keep the burners on my stove going this morning. Unfortunately, something that I had hanging on this area right here fell onto the stove while I was in the shower and started catching fire. Thankfully, I started smelling some smoke, came out of the shower, and realized that my stove was on fire. Well, it's a good thing that I keep water bottles filled up in this sink area. This water bottle was filled, and what I did was just dump it on the stove. Problem solved. But that was a close call. And the fire, the smoke detector did go off, so I have to have both windows open right now to ventilate the space. I'm surprised the fire department didn't show up, but I'm pretty cool when faced with things like floods and fires. I just grab a blanket or grab whatever I can and start taking the problem into hand. So that was not a problem. But the Greenville Group refusing to provide heat in this unit for the last 3 weeks, even though it was March and temperatures were down in the 30s on a regular basis, is a problem. And that is a direct result of the Greenville Group's refusal and inability to provide heat in this unit. My stove just caught fire. Is there any permanent damage? No. The fire was contained to this area right here. So, it could also happen when you're cooking. Obviously, if you're cooking something, you have some grease and the grease gets out of hand and catches fire from the open gas flame. You can also have a fire just by cooking. But this was a result of me having to keep the burners on the stove going while I was in the shower because the temperature in this unit was below 60 degrees. And I have a demonstration of that in a video made last night. The temperature in this unit was 56 degrees last night because the Greenville Group refuses to provide heat in this unit in spite of half a dozen emails, voicemails, and phone calls that I've left them in the last couple of weeks. They refuse to address the lack of heat, and Inspectional Services issued a citation to the Greenville Group for failure to provide heat in this unit on February 19th. The only source of warmth in this unit when I am freezing my head off in my own living space in the middle of winter is the stove. No one in a first world country should have to turn their stove on to get some heat in their apartment after having notified their landlord half a dozen times in writing over a period of a couple of weeks that there's no heat, and they still refuse to address the issue. So if this stove caught fire and I wasn't cool under pressure and able to just put it out immediately, we could have had a giant disaster, and that would not have been my fault. That would have been the fault of the Greenville Group for continuously refusing to provide any kind of functional heat in this unit, not just over the last few weeks, but over the last few years. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. I might just start one right now after I go to work. So again, nobody called the fire department, even though the smoke alarm was going off. I've had to open the windows. Thankfully, I always pre-fill water bottles and just keep them around the sink for rinsing my face or my hair off when the water starts to stink like vomit. The water from the bathroom down the hall never stinks like vomit, regardless of what I'm trying to rinse off under it. So the problem is not with me. It is with the water to these taps. It is with the Greenville Group refusing to provide heat in this unit for weeks, in spite of written notices and ISD citations. The Inspectional Services Department of Boston cited the Greenville Group for no heat in this unit on February 19th, and they have yet to fix the problem. That is unbelievable. And it has nothing to do with me unless they're doing this deliberately as a form of harassment. And that is entirely possible, given that the Greenville Group is run by sociopaths, low-life criminals, Russian, I don't know what, something related to Russia and Russian mafia activities, as I've been told by at least 6 people. Do I have a problem with Russian people? Of course not. But is this property run by Russian mafia? According to multiple reports, some people who told me this at the housing court, evidently,